Some things get left behind on this hype train. Welcome to WatchMojo, and today we'll be counting down our picks for the top 10 MCU mistakes Marvel wants you to forget.
And you lied.
Hey trivia fans, WatchMojo is on the Q's live trivia app, where your pop culture knowledge can earn you real money. And it's hosted by me, the WatchMojo lady. Winners in our first game took home $200 each. Get the app on iOS or Android to be notified when it's game time. You can find the download link in the description.
For this list, we'll be looking at the missteps and blemishes of the Marvel Cinematic Universe that Marvel probably doesn't want us to ever remember. If you're not all caught up, there may be spoilers ahead.
You should have gone for the head.
Number 10, timeline/continuity problems. The MCU timeline and its continuity are actually pretty solid for the most part, but it's not totally without its issues. Some of these gaffes are minor.
Recently, Thanos lent her and her sister Nebula out to Ronan, which leads us to believe that Thanos and Ronan are working together.
For example, Gamora is called the last of her species in Guardians of the Galaxy trailers and marketing. But in Infinity War, we find out only half her race was killed by Thanos.
The entire time I knew Thanos, he only ever had one goal. To bring balance to the universe by wiping out half of all life. He used to kill people planet by planet, massacre by massacre.
The most notable timeline contradiction is due to Spider-Man Homecoming. It starts with a flashback set shortly after the Avengers in 2012, then skips ahead 8 years to 2020. Yet if Infinity War corresponds with its year of release in 2018, how did Peter use the Iron Spider suit he wouldn't see until 2 years later?
You're not with Thanos? With Thanos? No. I'm here to kill Thanos. He took my girl. Wait, who are you? We're the Avengers, man.
You're the ones Thor told us about.
Number 9, the timeline of the Infinity Gauntlet. The Infinity Stones that are sought by Thanos have long been the focus for much of the MCU. However, this has caused many to overlook the gauntlet that the stones fit into, as well as its confusing history. An Infinity Gauntlet is first seen in Odin's vault at Asgard, though this is later revealed to be a fake.
Odin's treasures.
Fake.
Thanos first dons the glove in the post-credits of Age of Ultron. Yet in Infinity War, the gauntlet's maker, Eitri, King of Dwarves, and Thor make comments that suggest the gauntlet was created recently. So, how could Odin have a copy of a one-of-a-kind object made near when he died?
Fine. I'll do it myself.
Number 8, the Incredible Hulk.
You know, I know a few techniques could help you manage that anger very effectively.
Just to clarify, we're not talking about the character of the Hulk, but rather the only film in the MCU starring the Hulk in a lead role. Although it was one of the first films in the franchise, Marvel has been doing its best to distance itself from the movie. They rarely reference anything that happened in it in subsequent films, and only feature one returning character besides Bruce Banner. Part of this is due to copyright disputes with Universal, though the recasting of the titular role may also have something to do with Marvel distancing itself from the movie.
You want to know my secret, Agent Romanoff? You want to know how I stay calm?
Dr. Banner. Put down the scepter.
Number 7, the ending of Iron Man 3. The conclusion of the third installment in the Iron Man franchise sees Tony Stark overcome his hurdles, including his trauma following the events of the Avengers.
So if I were to wrap this up, tie it with a bow, whatever, I guess I'd say my armor, it was never a distraction or a hobby. It was a cocoon. And now, I'm a changed man.
In addition, he gets surgery to remove the shrapnel from his heart, removing the power core from his chest, we guess, just leaving a big hole there, and even blowing up all his Iron Man suits, which have to cost billions and don't earn him any money. Yet despite apparently retiring from the hero business, Tony returns in the next Avengers movie, with no explanation or mention that Tony retired in the first place. This isn't the last problem with Iron Man 3 either.
One thing you can't take away, I am Iron Man.
Number 6, letting great directors go. Marvel has a certain tone and style to its movies. While this does make its cinematic universe truly feel as if each film takes place in the same world, it also places a kind of creative straitjacket on the directors. Those who aren't able to reconcile their vision with Marvel's get the boot, no matter how talented they are. For instance, Wonder Woman director Patty Jenkins almost directed the second Thor film, And Edgar Wright left, or was let go from, depending on your sources, Ant-Man, despite being attached to it for years. Then there's the case of James Gunn's firing from Guardians of the Galaxy 3, but that's a whole other can of worms.
He may have been your father, boy, but he wasn't your daddy.
Number 5, Thor The Dark World.
I've got this completely under control.
Is that why everything's on fire?
The second installment in the Thor franchise is definitely its weakest entry, as well as one of Marvel's least beloved movies to date. Where to start? Maybe with its drab color palette and cringeworthy humor.
Well done. You just decapitated your grandfather.
Then there's the uninteresting villain and poorly conveyed plot. All of this makes it pale in comparison to its origin story predecessor and its colorful and hilarious follow-up. Thor The Dark World is not a bad film by any means, but it's very middle of the road, which is why it made the middle of our list.
Your brother's not coming, is he? Loki is dead.
Oh, thank God. I'm so sorry.
Number 4, weak female movie presence.
Kiss me.
What?
Public displays of affection make people very uncomfortable.
Yes, they do.
The MCU has made great strides in world building across movies and TV shows and has delivered some excellent content nearly across the board. Yet it's fallen somewhat flat in the area of representation, particularly with female-led films. The small screen has done well with TV shows starring women like Jessica Jones and Agent Carter, but the big screen has been slow to match this success, or even attempt it. Although there are plenty of great female characters in the MCU, it has taken until 2019 to get a female starring superhero movie in Captain Marvel. 11 years is a long time to keep dropping a ball that much.
Would you trust me to do it?
I would now.
Number 3, forgettable/underdeveloped villains.
Good to be back.
Oh, this ain't gonna be good.
One of the most commonly cited complaints about the Marvel Cinematic Universe is that its villains don't leave much of an impression. While it has a few notables, like Killmonger, Thanos, or Loki, a great many of its movie villains are rather forgettable.
I'm gonna destroy everything you love.
Several are dark versions of their heroes or have generic motivations of conquest without any adequately described backstories. Even well-received movies like the first Guardians of the Galaxy can suffer from this. We're not saying every villain needs an origin movie, but some build-up might be nice. And it'd be easier to get that if they weren't killed off at the end of every movie. Number 2, Inhumans.
I saw you.
The MCU has had precious few outright flops across multiple media, but one of its biggest is definitely Inhumans. Originally envisioned as a film, Inhumans instead debuted as a TV series, though its first 2 episodes did indeed premiere on IMAX screens.
I'd certainly prefer not to, because that is not who I want to be.
It seems like a good gimmick, but the big screen only made its flaws more noticeable. With little to no compelling characters or stories, shoddy effects, and ridiculous costumes, Inhumans is definitely one of Marvel's low points in the last decade, and one they'd probably rather the public forget about.
It's the most selfish thing I've ever done. I simply acted from my heart.
If you stay here, you will die. But I will leave that up to you.
Number 1, the Mandarin twist.
Your performance? Where people died?
No, they didn't. Look around you, costumes, green screen. Honestly, I wasn't on location for half of this stuff. When I was, it was Movie Magic Club.
We said we weren't done with Iron Man 3. As the third installment in the Iron Man franchise, fan expectations were high for the movie, and the appearance of Iron Man's arch nemesis, the Mandarin, promised a great finale. However, many fans were disappointed to discover that the mastermind behind the film's events was using an actor to pose as the Mandarin, turning the character into a joke.
Next.
And then they approached me about the role, and they knew about the drugs.
What did they say? They get you off them?
Said they'd give me more. They gave me things. They gave me this palace.
This would be comparable to the Joker being revealed to be a party clown instead of a criminal genius. Although Marvel released a short that implies that the actual Mandarin is still out there, it was too little, too late.
And you will never see me coming.
I told you he was gonna do it. I told you. Thank you.
No, I thank you. And I thank you.
Do you agree with our picks? Check out these other great clips from WatchMojo and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.